Oh, so what I mean by saying that you don't live by the zodiac, you don't live by the constellations. You use them to remind yourself of where you're going. So if you just use like the normal horoscopes and zodiac symbols and what they mean from what the social consciousness says, then you're being wrapped into social consciousness, right? But here, I want you to have your own individual consciousness. In order to have your own individual consciousness when it comes to the zodiac signs, you have to do your own research and your own meditations and gain your own understandings of what these are meaning to you. And how you do that is you map out you map out the stars, and it's not you need a telescope and you're mapping it out, because this has nothing to do with the physical stars. This is not that. This is um this is alchemy. This is one of the higher forms of alchemy, when you're taking principles, right, that you're taking principles that exist, and then you're relaying them to your life, right? So Capricorn is usually is ruled by Saturn most of the time, and usually has the above and below Baphomet on there. Well, what does the Baphomet represent? Well, the Baphomet represents darkness. It also represents control, right? So, well, darkness and control. Well, darkness is not something all the time that is useful, and sometimes it could be scary. But ultimately, darkness is used in times of seed germination for the seed to grow. So, okay, so what does that mean to me? Oh, it means discipline. You see what I'm saying? You have to form that thought process. And if you're listening to these videos, you may or may not have that process to that degree. Don't worry about it. Like, you're gonna get there as long as you like listen to what I'm saying and break it down for yourself, and test it out for yourself, because this is years of contemplation. This is years of meditation. This is years of studying. Like, this isn't just like out the blue. So once you start getting the idea of like, okay, this means that, remember, just because in one part of your life the zodiac symbol means one thing, it could change in your life, because you're gonna change. Your thought process is gonna change. So don't be fixed on these on the on the on the definitions that you give these zodiac signs. All right. So once you get the definitions of the zodiac signs for yourself, then you gotta put them on a map. And one of these days, I'll show y'all one of my maps and show you how I did it, and then you can use that template or change it to however you're liking, whatever. But you use that map to see at what part of the year are these zodiac signs going through. By this time, each zodiac sign, Capricorn, will have a title under it. That title is how you see Capricorn. Like, for me, Capricorn is stable force. That's what it means to me. So I have Capricorn, then I have stable force, and it has the Capricorn sign. For for you, it'll be the same way, except for it'll be your own idea of what it is. So once you get that down, then you'll be like, okay, you'll break down the zodiacal calendar by 4 seasons, and it's better to do it in a circle because it's easier to see it instead of having an actual Gregorian calendar. So when you put it on a circle, you be like, okay, so this half is summer, this half is spring. I mean, this part is summer, this part is spring, this part is fall, this part is winter, right? So then you see where which zodiac sign is where, right? So at the beginning of spring, you'll have Aries, right? At the beginning of fall, you'll have Virgo. At the beginning of in the mid of spring, you'll have Taurus, and like the mid of summer, towards the end of summer, you'll have Leo. You see what I'm saying? That's how it's going. Or at midsummer, you'll have Leo. I think at the end of summer is Cancer. No, Cancer is the beginning. But anyway, it's after spring going into summer. But anyways. So once you have that, look at the meaning or the principles that you have for the for the astrological sign. And for instance, mine has Capricorn and it has stable force. Okay, what part of the year is Capricorn in? It's in the winter time. Okay, so that means stable force is in the winter time. So it being in winter time, and then me and your label of it, that label in winter time have a correlation. Find that correlation. For instance, wintertime, Capricorn, stable force. So wintertime is harsh, right? Like historically, it's harsh. It gets cold. It's not the outside isn't enjoyable like it is during the spring or summertime. So it's a stable force in many ways. Not only is it a stable force through the weather, it also is going to manifest within your being. So in wintertime, you have to put more clothes on, right? But let's say you don't have the right clothes for it, you're not going to be prepared for it, right? So if you're not prepared for it, you're going to be uneasy, and that uneasy still translates into a stable force. So now that stable force is uneasiness because you don't have the clothes that you need. So now you need to go out and get the clothes that you need. So you have to be disciplined and have that stable force in order to get the clothes that you need, so it can be more so you can be more comfortable. So once you discipline yourself, hopefully you're able to do it within the first 2 or 3 weeks of winter before it gets too cold. Now you're able to withstand the winter. Now it's more comfortable. So now instead of worrying about physical comfort because you got the physical down, now it's an emotional stable force. How does winter make you feel? For me, winter is good and bad. It's just depending on the month of it, right? So there's no direct way of like each winter I feel like this unless seasonally your mood changes like that. But for me, it doesn't really like not really. So emotionally, what is Capricorn doing? What is Capricorn doing to me emotionally, right? So then once I realize what Capricorn is doing to me emotionally, I realize, okay, do I need to keep going down this path or do I need to change something? If I need to go down this path and change something, then I'll figure out what it is. If I'm good, then I've checked my mind. Okay, in Capricorn in wintertime, what does that do for my mind? What does the winter do for my mind? Well, me personally, mentally, I like the winter because I like wearing winter clothes. It's fashionable. I like that. So it kind of gets me happy to be able to wear fashionable clothes in the winter. But what if I don't have those clothes? What if I don't have the fashionable clothes for winter like I want to? So now mentally on the third dimension in secular society, now I have to go out and get money to buy more fashionable clothes. Okay, but I also have to weigh that out with the stable force of my spirit. Like, is this really necessary? Like you see, like all the different like ways you can like attach to it. So once once you like start mapping out the zodiac signs, you may be like, I don't understand like what this means. Like I read the mythology, I see what type of trait it has, I see what type of element it has, but I don't really understand like how to give it a meaning or how to give it a principle. Like I don't understand that. And that's all right. You're good. But what you have to do is be aware of yourself now. Now you're going into your mentality. Now you're going to your mental space. And this is how I started like really tapping into my mind. So when the months pass and the zodiac signs change, start becoming aware of like when the zodiacal shift is about to happen. When one thing goes to the next, right? Start being more aware of that. Start seeing where things happen in your life, and then kind of map and kind of like make a mental note of it. Okay, this happened during this time, or this happened during that time. Like for me, a lot of Cancer seasons have like breakups, or like separations, or like romantic turmoil for me. That's how a lot of Cancer season have been, except for this last Cancer season. This last Cancer season, well, yeah, Cancer season is really like for the last few years, it's been like cleaning house. It's like cleaning, like cleansing. But like it could be different for everybody. But start making mental notes of, dang, this weird thing happened to me today. Dang, I wonder what astrological sign we're in. And then bam, be like, okay, we're in the astrological sign of Libra, and this weird thing happened to me. Make a mental note of it. You know what I'm saying? So then, when you get back to Libra the next year, and something strange happens, and you like, wait, I wonder what astrological sign we're in today, and it's Libra again, and then those two things are similar, then you know, like, hey, this happens in Libra, so let me focus on what's happening here. And then based on those two situations, you're like, okay, so this happened and this happened. So these two things, what are the principles? Like, what are these two things meanings? If I could put these in one word or two words, what would it be? Then you put them in two words or one word. Then you be like, okay, how can I put these two things together? Like, what do they have in common? Then you start realizing, oh, they have this in common. And then what they have in common is basically your new understanding or meaning of Libra, because that's what you personally need to work on, right? So then you go through the seasons like that continuously. Now, you may think like, how am I gonna remember something that happened in Libra a year ago? And believe it or not, that's what astrology teaches you. It teaches you how to have that type of memory, because remember, these planets in our social consciousness have been around for a long time. So you can put a thought into Sagittarius and keep it there. And then when Sagittarius comes back around, that thought will come back to you, because it's that the frequency is heavy there. And I know it doesn't make any sense right now, but after I get through these recordings, if you haven't already picked it up, you'll start understanding that everything is the same, everything is one, and everything is different, but they're all leading to the same path. But they're all building you, and hopefully you're understanding that. So the social consciousness and the etheric vibration already have these planets, and already have these zodiacal signs within the antenna spaces of our beings. All we have to do is tap into it, and it's gonna take. It took me about 3 or 4 years to get through the like the zodiac signs, because I never take anything 100% seriously when it comes to like spirituality. It's not like I don't take it seriously, is that I try not to fall into the trap of doing things religiously. I try to fall into the genuine nature of who I am. You see what I'm saying? So instead of like mapping out every day, okay, today is first day of Gemini and this is how I feel. I mean, you can do that if that's how you are. If that's genuinely how you are, then do that. But if that's not how you are, just make a mental note of it. Just make, okay, in Gemini this happened. Okay, cool. All right. So then next season, okay, this happened. Okay, and next season, okay, this happened. Okay, next season, okay, this happened. And then you'll do that. You do that for years until you get comfortable with it, and until you have your meanings of it, right? So once you have your meanings, right, then you're gonna start going into the planets, because now we're going to the next level. So now we're not just worried about, we're not just thinking about the zodiac signs now. Now we're thinking about the planets that rule them, because that means something. So if a planet rules a constellation, then that means that planet has a certain type of power within that constellation, right? Now remember, the constellation is no longer Virgo to you. The constellation is that principle that you took from Virgo that's helping you in your life, right? And that's the last point I want to make about the zodiac signs, is that the zodiac signs aren't to live by. They're a tool to organize your mind to remember certain things throughout the year. So if you ever get lost within the astral chronicle or the astral sphere, you could regain your mental location of where you are. And then, okay, let's say it's winter time and life is going horrible for me and I'm feeling lost inside. I look at Capricorn and I see stable force. That means I need to do something that's a stable force, and that stable force to me is going to be some type of discipline. I need to find something I need to discipline myself in, so I can get myself back on track, right? And that's how I want you to start thinking about astrology.